It's a story that we should all feel very passionately about, and that is the Bethesda Center in London. It is for young women who find themselves pregnant, and it is a wonderful facility that has been helping them. And very, very sadly, the Salvation Army has announced that it is closing. But after some blowback from the community, the Salvation Army has suggested that they might keep it open under certain circumstances. No one's fighting harder to make that happen than the woman who's sitting in the studio with me this morning. Sarah, this has been a personal battle for you, and the battle goes on.
It does. It's a full-time job on top of my full-time job.
Well, Sarah Brooks, certainly applaud what it is you're doing. Let's just remind the folks very briefly your personal link to the Bethesda Center. Why you feel so passionately about this?
Well, I lived at the Bethesda Center when I was 16 years old. My son will be 18 in June, and I benefited from the programs at Bethesda Center. I also have a relative who has worked at Bethesda for more than 30 years, and the center has always been a part of my life.
It's what I'm hearing time and time again, and I've met several of the young women from who've either lived at the home in the past or live there now, and it's just they were helped at an absolutely crucial point in their lives. And it was a difference between a life of drugs and prostitution and abortion and all the bad stuff out there, or a life where they just pulled it together and have gone on to lead a very productive and positive life. And boy, if that isn't worth an investment. So, folks, we want to see this home saved. The question is that a realistic goal? Bring us up to date, if you would, Sarah, on where we're at now. First of all, the terms and conditions that the Salvation Army has laid out for them to even consider keeping this home open.
On March 9th, the Salvation Army had a media release, and they said that if the community can raise $1.5 million by May 31st, they will keep the center open for an additional 3 to 5 years, which will give them time to look for sustainable funding.
Well, you know what? The way I look at it is people shake their heads and go, wait a minute, $1.5 million in 10 weeks or whatever. That's totally impossible. Well, there are a lot of people who looked at the lives of these young women and said, restoring them to a good, healthy life is impossible. But the Salvation Army happens to believe in miracles, and so do I. And somehow we're going to make this happen. The phone lines are already lighting up. Lynn, what's your story?
I was a former resident, just like Sarah. I'm currently running an online auction through Facebook.
Okay. In other words, let's just talk about your feelings about this first, and then we'll look at the specifics.
Sure.
You're a former resident. What are your thoughts about the situation that the home finds itself in right now, on the verge of closure, unless the community rallies together to save it?
I just hope, I'm very hopeful that we can gather enough money to make sure that it doesn't close its doors. It's really sad to see the service close because it is a very much needed service.
Lynn, what did it do for you?
It got me to where I am today.
And where are you today?
I run 3 businesses. And then on the side, I'm helping with Save Bethesda.
You make me laugh. I run 3 businesses, and on the side, I I love that. What are the 3 businesses, Lynn?
They're just 3 retail stores. 2 of them are full-time. 1 is a seasonal store.
Wow. So. What's your message to London about the Bethesda Center?
Just to pull together and help save this service. It's very much needed for these young moms. Okay,
a quick word about your auction.
For sure. All proceeds go to Save Bethesda through the Salvation Army. The items are listed for 5 days, and we just hope that we get lots of bids on there. We're not doing too bad so far. It runs until May 27th.
Okay, and where can people find out about it, Lynn?
They can go online to Facebook, facebook.com, Save Bethesda Auction, or they can even email me at lvanden@hotmail.com.
Lynn, I appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
Sarah, let me ask you, at this point, how do you view this goal of $1.5 million and the realistic possibility of saving it? And I think the related item, until there's a certain momentum gets going, are people a little reluctant to give because there's a whole issue of what happens to their money if it doesn't happen?
Absolutely. I think that people are hesitant, and the number is huge. It's really big, and I think if people would stop looking at it as $1.5 million and look at it as what you can do, because we figured it out, and if each person in London donated $4.11, we would meet the goal. So we realize that not everybody in London can donate $4.11, but if you put in 20, then you're covering your neighbor that can't do it. So if everybody would just stand up and say enough is enough, we can reach this goal.
Lynn called about one event. I understand you have more.
Yes, we do. Lynn's event is currently running on Facebook. We also have on April 20th at the Covent Garden Market. We have a barbecue going on from 11:30 till 1:30. We do have the Salvation Army support with this and are hopeful that we will have members from the Salvation Army that will be attending this event as well. Some staff from Bethesda have volunteered their time to come and help with this event. So we have that going on. We also have a coffee house night on Monday, May 7th from 7 till 10 at the Wortley Roadhouse. We have some local entertainers that are coming for that, and we will have an auction there as well, and the tickets are $10. We have Women in Progress has offered to make April their Save Bethesda month, and they are doing some fundraising. So if you have a friend or you're interested in participating in Women in Progress, you can look them up online, and we can certainly help you out with that. We took the advice of one of your callers from the last show, actually. He had mentioned that the churches in the city should pitch in. If every church raised $1,000, that would be $300,000. So we've decided to follow up on his challenge and have been speaking with many of the churches in the area about that challenge.
Well, it's certainly a challenge that I would, and I have a lot of friends in the church community, I would very much invite them to respond to. And I'm thinking a minimum of 1,000 from every church in London, and certainly some of them are capable of going much beyond that. Let me ask you a quick question before we talk to the Salvation Army's Major Pat Finney. Are you and the Army on the same page? I mean, one would assume that the Army would absolutely want to save the home, that it's strictly a financial issue, and they would absolutely want to save it. Have all of their actions and statements been supportive of what you're doing? Is there anything they're doing that's not supportive?
The one thing that would really help if the Salvation Army would do is to run their own fundraising campaigns as well. They have been supportive in the events that we have planned, which is very much appreciated. However, the Salvation Army said flat out in their media release that they do not plan to run any fundraising on their own. And a lot of times people are more willing to trust the Salvation Army than they are the Save Bethesda committee. So if they would step up and run their own fundraising, that would be extremely helpful.
Let's go to the phones again. John has a point. Go ahead, John.
Good morning, Andy. Nice to see that we're doing this again. I've got a great idea. Why don't we pick up the busiest day for restaurants is Mother's Day, and maybe see if we can get some restaurants that would be involved in donating something on that day towards the center.
I think it's a fabulous idea. Remind us of the date of Mother's Day.
Well, it's the second or third Sunday in May.
Second Sunday in May, usually right around May 9th.
Yeah, if you can get those guys out there with their little, their nice little buckets where people can put their money into out in front of the restaurants that want to get involved, I think you'd generate a lot of dollars.
John, why do we need to save the Bethesda Center?
Well, it's the reason I think is it's a lot of women that are pregnant that need that help. It's so important.
A lot of people focus on the mother but don't focus on the child. I'm going to raise Justin Bieber's name again because he actually stayed there, you might say. And I want to ask you about that, Sarah. What is the latest in terms of Justin Bieber's mother? I heard something again this morning that she is now involved.
Yes, I heard about that yesterday, actually. Patty Millett has started putting tweets out on her Twitter account to help get the word out about saving Bethesda, and that's certainly a big help.
Oh, absolutely. How has she identified herself? As Justin's mom or just as Patty Millett?
No. In the tweet that I saw, she said that she was thankful for the center because Justin Bieber got his start there.
Staff members, what are they allowed to do? What are they encouraged to do by the Salvation Army in the context of these fundraisers?
My understanding is that they have been told to pretty much stay away from it.
Why?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I have been told that they need to stay out of it, basically.
Because I think what people are watching very, very carefully is to make sure that this is all positive. Everybody wants this to succeed. There's nothing negative here.
And the staff members certainly do want this to succeed, and the staff members are supportive of the committee's events and the efforts that we're putting forward. However, many of them are afraid to get too involved.